So welcome everyone. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our course overview of Gita. This is our 55th class today. And now today we are starting a new chapter. This is chapter number 16, the title of which is The Divine and the Demoniac Natures. This is the first class of this chapter. We will, before studying this chapter, we will do our regular Mangalacharan prayers. Kindly repeat at your respective places. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Yes, so let us start this chapter number 16, and what you see in front of you is like all other chapters. I have displayed here the overview chart of chapter number 16, and this is a relatively small chapter, only 24 verses. I plan to complete this chapter in 2 classes. So 12 verses by today and the next 12 verses in the next class. And there are 4 sections in this chapter, and you can see these sections are discussing different themes. So from verse number 1 till verse number 3, Lord Krishna has defined the divine qualities. From verse number 4 till 8, he has defined demoniac qualities. And then starting from verse number 9 till 20, he elaborates on the various activities, conduct, attitude, etc. of the demoniacs. And then finally, he concludes how one can give up the demoniac tendencies. The sutra word for chapter number 16 is DOG. DOG stands for dog. And I will come back to why I have, what does dog actually means here. But D stands for divine and demoniac, which is the two types of people the Lord discusses in this chapter from verse number 1 till 6. O is opinions and outlooks. So of the demoniac. So in the second part from 7 till 20, Lord Krishna elaborates more on the viewpoints, attitudes, opinion, outlook of the demoniacs. And G's gates to hell. So what is the reason why people choose to demoniac quality, or people tend to acquire demoniac qualities, and how they can come out of these demonic qualities is mentioned from 21 to 24. So the same overview map is now concised into an interesting acronym called DOG. And the reason why the acronym has been kept as DOG is because the dog is an animal which is known for its faithfulness to man. But at the same time, the same dog is also known for its aggressive behavior. So the point is that it is not like that a living entity only has divine qualities or only has demoniac qualities. It's a mixture of both divine and demoniac. However, in this chapter number 16, the Lord is discussing two qualities separately, and we will come to why what is the connection between this chapter and the previous chapters in the next slide. So first of all, we will discuss in this chapter the divine qualities, starting from verse number 1 till verse number 3. And this slide gives you a little flavor of what is the connection with this chapter number 16 to the previous chapters. Now, in this chapter number 16, as you will start to learn about it, Lord Krishna starts to speak about divine qualities and demonic qualities without Arjuna asking any question to the Lord. Arjuna asked a question to the Lord at the beginning of the 13th chapter, and then Lord discusses the 13th chapter. Uh, and then in the 14th chapter, also Arjuna asks another question to the Lord, where he asks about how one can transcend various modes. And in the 15th chapter, also, there was no question asked as such. And then uh, in 16th chapter, also, there is no question asked by Arjuna. So what exactly is the connection between the previous chapters and the 16th chapter? So these slides give you a little idea of what exactly, how exactly the link is there. So the link, as I've been mentioning in the past also, the link starts from the 13th chapter, verse number 22. This is, as I've been mentioning in the previous classes, is also mentioned by the acharyas as the Bij Vakya. Bij Vakya means the seed verse. Seed verse means from this verse, the all other chapters of the Gyan Yoga sections of Bhagavad Gita, starting from 13th and ending at 18th chapter, all these last 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the connection is there in the Bij Vakya verse, which is the 22nd verse. And if you recall, the 22nd verse is पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुंक्ते प्रकृतिर्जान गुणा कारणम गुण संगस्यो सद असद योनिषु जन्मसु. In this verse, the Lord has discussed the reason for reincarnation of the living entity. How exactly the dynamics of reincarnation, punarjanam, why the punarjanam happens of the living entity again and again. So he says, Purusha Prakriti Sthohi Bhunkte Prakritir Janguna. So the living entity is placed in the Prakriti. Purusha Prakriti Sthohi. Purusha is the living entity, the Jiva. The Jiva is placed into the material nature. Why? Because Bhunkte Prakritir Jangunan. Bhunkte Prakritir Jangunan means because the living entity has this tendency to enjoy the material nature. He wants to enjoy the material nature. That's why, because by the higher arrangement, the Purusha, the Jiva, is placed into the material nature. Bhunkte Prakriti Janmuna. Karanam Gun Sangasyo. Garanam Guna Sangasyo. And when he is placed in the material nature, he develops attachment to the various forms that are available by the material nature in various ways. He becomes attached, and because he attached, then the last line says sad asad yonisu janmasu. Sad asad yonisu janmasu. So he takes good and the bad species in the next lives. So this chapter is about the good and the bad. So the last line of this Bij Varsa, Sad Asad Yonisu Janmasu. So the Sad is mentioned in this chapter as divine, and the Asad has been mentioned as demoniac. So that is the connection with the 13th chapter, which is a Bij Vagya verse. But immediate connection with the 15th chapter, what is the immediate connection with the 15th chapter? In the 15th chapter, the Lord has described the banyan tree, the inverted banyan tree. Urdhvam Moolam Adha Shakham. Ashwatha Prahur Avyayam. This inverted banyan tree. And if you recall, in this inverted banyan tree, the Lord has described about the secondary roots. Secondary roots are those roots which come from the tree itself, and they tend to move towards the ground. But since this tree is inverted, you can say that these secondary roots fall from the main body of the tree and then rise up uh, towards the main root. Now the significance of these secondary roots is to the primary root of this tree is known as Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka means the abode of Lord Brahma, because Brahma is the primary creator of living entities. So that is why he's called as secondary root. He's called as primary root. Huh? But the secondary root is these roots that are coming from the main body of the tree. And these roots represents vasanas. Vasanas means desires. And because of these desires, the living entity continue to take good and bad birth. If you develop good desires, you tend to take good birth. If you tend to develop bad desires, you tend to develop you tend to take bad birth. Uh-huh. So that is how it is connected with the 15th chapter. The secondary roots are in all directions. They go up and down, and the living entities, the upper direction represents higher planets, godly planets or divine planets, but the lower direction represents the hellish planets. So uh, demonic species goes to the hellish planets, and the divine species goes to the higher planets. So that is what the good and the bad, which has been hinted or has been given in the seed verse, uh, and then further elaborated in the banyan tree of the 15th chapter, is now described in detail in the 16th chapter. So this chapter will be you will find this chapter to be quite interesting. This is about all about qualities. So Srila Prabhupada in his purports have given a lot of interesting explanation of various qualities. So let us start focusing on this chapter, starting from verse number 1. So the from verse number 1 till verse number 3, Srila Prabhupada has clubbed all these three verses together, and because all these three verses describe divine qualities. So I will recite this verse for you, and then we will go in detail on each of these qualities. श्रीभगवानुवाच अभयं सत्त्वसंशुद्धिर्ज्ञानयोगाव्यवस्थितिः दानं दमश्च यज्ञश्च स्वाध्यायतस्तपश्चार्जवम् अहिंसा सत्यम् अक्रोधस्त्यागः शान्तिरपैशुनम् दया भूतेष्वलो लुप्त्वं मार्दवं हीरचापलम् तेजः क्षमा धृतिः शौचम् अद्रोहो नातिमानिता भवन्ति सम्पदं दैवीम् अभिजातस्य भारत. Now this is a long list of qualities that has been described by the Lord. So we will first of all focus on few important words, and some introduction about this verse. So the one of the important word in this particular verse is sampat. Uh, in Sanskrit, the divine and the demoniac natures. So in Sanskrit or in Hindi, the translation goes like Daivi Sampad and Asuri Sampad. So the word Sampat comes from the word Sampatti. Sampatti means wealth. Now you might wonder why this divine wealth or demoniac wealth. So why do you mean by wealth? So the reason for calling this as sampatti or comparing it with wealth is because these are qualities, and both these divine and the demoniac, when they acquire these qualities by birth, when they take birth, they acquire these qualities. They actually hold these qualities very very dear to them, and that is why they are compared to as wealth. So sampat can be compared to sampatti, which is wealth, and the reason is because these people consider these qualities very dear to them. They take actually pride in having these qualities. They don't feel bad about it. So this has been called as sampat. And as I've been mentioning in the previous slide, these represents the good fruit of the banyan tree, and these are sattvic. These are born out of sattva. So Daivi Sampad, the divine qualities, these are qualities in goodness, and these represent the good fruit of the banyan tree. So whatever I have just now recited in front of you, Abhayam, Sattva Samshuddhir, Jnana, Yogam Avasthitah, and so on, these are all 26 in nature, 26 in number, total 26. And the interesting part that you will see here is when Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas who have given the purport to this particular verse, all three verses combined together, and have explained these 26 qualities, they have described these 26 qualities with respect to the four ashramas and four varnas. What does it mean? Four ashramas and four varnas. Now you know already that there are four ashrams. Four ashram means brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. So these are four ashrams. And then there are four varnas. Varnas are brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, and shudra. So these four ashrams and four varnas. So all these 26 qualities that have been listed here by Lord Shri Krishna, the Vaishnava Acharyas, including Srila Prabhupada, have specifically picked up each one of these qualities and have attributed it to a particular ashram or a varna. Why? It is not that any of these qualities cannot be developed, or I would say cannot be connected to any other ashrama or is not applicable to other ashramas. But what does it mean is that in that particular ashrama or varna, these particular quality which Srila Prabhupada will be now be connecting to in the purport is specifically important to cultivate. So for example, we will understand what does it mean when I say that for a specific varna and for a specific ashrama, one specific quality has to be cultivated. It will be clear when I'll start explaining you the qualities. So let us go deep into the qualities. So whatever I have been describing in this, I will describe in the in this particular 2-3 slides, coming 2-3 slides. It is all based on the elaborate purport that Srila Prabhupada has given. So in my book, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Total 6 pages Srila Prabhupada has spent to describe most of them. He has not picked up all of them, but most of them he has picked up and have explained them in detail. So let us take one by one. So first quality is abhayam. Abhayam. The second quality is sattva samshuddhir, and the third one is jnanam yoga avasthiti. So these three qualities, Srila Prabhupada says that can be attributed to the sannyas ashram, to the sannyasi. So abhayam means fearlessness, and then sattva samshuddhi means purity of consciousness, and then Jnana Yoga Avasthitihi. Jnana Yoga Avasthiti means fully familiar with methods of knowledge. Now let us understand these one by one. And why specifically Srila Prabhupada has connected these three qualities to the sannyas ashram. Let us look at first of all fearlessness. So when Srila Prabhupada connects fearlessness, or in Sanskrit we call it as abhayam, Srila Prabhupada explains this fearlessness as dependence on God. And why for a sannyasi fearlessness is very, very important? Because the sannyasi renounces the active material life. He doesn't have any wealth, he doesn't have any possession, he even doesn't have any specific place to live. So when a sannyasi renounces all these material possessions, be it shelter, be it money, and so on, he, unless and until he has full faith, full fearlessness, he cannot do so. And when, what does fearlessness means? He understands that he is fully dependent upon God, and God is the only maintainer, creator, and he will take care of the sannyasi. He will take care of the bodily needs. He will take care of any other need of the sannyasi. That is why Srila Prabhupada has connected this quality with sannyas ashram. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport is saying, if one thinks, after I leave my connections, who will protect me? He should not accept the renounced order of life. One must be fully convinced that Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his localized aspect as Paramatma, is always within. He is seeing everything and he always knows what one intends to do. One must thus have firm conviction that Krishna will take care of a soul surrendered to him. I shall never be alone, one should think. Even if I live in the darkest region of the forest, I shall be accompanied by Krishna and he will give me all protection. So, this conviction is called as Abhayam, fearlessness. So, this fearlessness is specifically very, very important in a sannyasi who is who has renounced the active material life and uh, should have firm faith, firm conviction on dependence upon Krishna. Okay. Then comes the next quality, which is purity of consciousness. Purity of consciousness in Sanskrit it is known as Sattva Samshuddhir. Sattva Samshuddhir. Now, purity of consciousness, Srila Prabhupada describes in his purport is that one should follow the prescribed rules. And in the sannyas ashram, the purity of consciousness, the most important prescribed rule for a sannyasi in the sannyas ashram is that in this particular order of life, he should not have any intimate connections, intimate relation with the opposite sex, and he should not have any possession of wealth for sense gratification. That is strictly forbidden. So, by following these two rules, that not having intimate connection with the opposite sex or with a woman, and by not having possession of wealth for any sense gratification, these are strictly forbidden. So, purity of consciousness would mean here for a sannyasi, these following these two prescribed rule in particular. And there are many other rules, but these two particular rules are specifically very, very important for a sannyasi to follow. Then let us go to the third one. Third one is Jnana Yogam Avasthitihi. Jnana Yogam Avasthitihi, Srila Prabhupada translated as cultivation of spiritual knowledge, or you can also say fully familiar with the methods of knowledge. So the sannyasi's main job is uh, uh, mainly to propagate, mainly to distribute the spiritual knowledge to the society at large. And in order to distribute this spiritual knowledge, the sannyasi sometimes go to the various houses, various householders, and then he starts he at the pretext of begging something, at the pretext of begging food, begging some money for his maintenance. But but the larger purpose of this sannyasi when they go to the various household for begging is mainly to remind the householders that they should not get attached to the family life. They should actually start thinking of cultivating spiritual knowledge in their life. And when the householders show some interest, the sannyasi starts to give them the spiritual knowledge. So the sannyasi can only give some spiritual knowledge or some Krishna consciousness to other people only when they are fully familiar with the methods of knowledge. So that is why for a sannyasi, these three qualities are very, very important, which is fearlessness, abhayam, purity of consciousness, sattva samshuddhir, and the third one is jnana yogam avasthiti, fully familiar with the methods of knowledge. Now, coming to the other next three qualities. The next three qualities are Danam damascha yagyascha. Danam damascha yagyascha. So for Danam is charity. Dam is actually self-control, and yagyascha is sacrifice, tyag. Hmm? So Srila Prabhupada is writing here that these three qualities are specifically in particular very, very important for the grahastha, for the householder people. And how let us discuss this one by one. So first of all, he's saying that the grahastha or a household person should always be willing to give some charity. Now here we should understand that charity is not only an activity, charity is also a mentality. What do I mean when I say charity is a mentality? When we say charity is a mentality, it means that a person or a householder should actually have this habit, have this practice of giving something. It may not necessarily be money always, but he has this inclination, or he should have this tendency to donate, to give something. Now, let me give you an example of what does it mean. uh, I was reading about one freedom fighter, the autobiography of one of the freedom fighters, uh, and it was mentioned in his autobiography. He was mentioning about somebody else. He was praising somebody else. It was, I think, Jamnalal Bajaj. So it was mentioning in this writing that in Jamnalal, in our donation, it is business. But in when Jamnalal Bajaj would do business, it would mean donation. So try to follow this. When we give donation, we give donation with the mentality of business. But when Jamnalal Bajaj would do business, he would do with the mentality of donation. So the point I'm trying to make here is, donation or charity or giving is not only an activity, it is also a mindset. The person should be large hearted, it should be magnanimous. That's what it means. So the householder who always live with possessions, he has a house, he has a wealth, he has a lot of maybe property, maybe jewelry, bank balance, and so on. So it may happen that because of all these material possessions, he may be very much attached to all these things. But the householder should gradually develop some kind of a renunciation, and that can happen when he cultivates this habit of giving charity. Now, whom this charity should be given? This charity should be given to a qualified person. Now, the question arises, who's the qualified person? So the best charity is actually that charity which is used, which is donated, or which is given for the purpose of spreading God consciousness in the society. Because the living entity is the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And in this material world, he tends to forget about the relationship between himself and the Supreme Lord. So any charity, uh, any donation that we give, if we give it for the purpose that the living entity, for furthering the cause of that living entity, can connect with the Supreme Father, can connect with the Supreme Lord, that is considered to be the best charity. Then coming to the second quality of about grahastha, this is self-control, damascha. Dam is self-control. So Srila Prabhupada is once again explaining what does it mean self-control for the grahastha, for a householder. He again mentions here that for a householder, there is all facility available for sense gratification through, uh, or he or she can utilize the opportunity for indulging in sex life uh, unnecessarily, because there is already a permission in the form of a marriage or whatever has been, the householder has that permission. But Srila Prabhupada is writing here that even though the householder has this license to engage in sex life, he should not do it unnecessarily and without any regulation. So Srila Prabhupada writes here, although he has a wife, a householder should not use his senses for sex life unnecessarily. There are restrictions for the householders even in sex life, which should only be engaged in for the propagation of children. If he does not require children, he should not enjoy sex life with his wife. Then he also further mentions the attitude of the modern society. He says, modern society enjoys sex life with contraceptive methods or more abominable methods to avoid the responsibility of children. This is not in the transcendental quality, but is demoniac. Yeah, just give me a minute. Sorry. Yeah. So that's what the self control actually means here. Self control means The householder should indulge in sex life with regulation and should not do it unnecessarily. Then the third part is sacrifice. Danam damascha yagyascha. Yagya actually means sacrifice. Here, Srila Prabhupada is explaining what does yagya means. So he's saying that there are many types of yagyas, many types of sacrifices. He's actually making a mention of Agnihotra sacrifice is mentioned in Vedic literature for householders. But then he says that these sacrifices at the present moment are very expensive and is not possible for any householder to perform them. And then he says the best sacrifice recommended in this age is called Sankirtan Yagya. This Sankirtan Yagya is the chanting of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the best and the most inexpensive sacrifice. Everyone can adopt it and derive benefit out of it. So how do we know that Sankirtan Yagya or chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the best sacrifice? First of all, it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna is saying that, if you recall in the previous chapters, where Lord Krishna is saying that among the various yagyas, I am japa. He says that among various yagyas, I am japa. And then also from the Kali Santaran Upanishad, we find this verse where this Hare Krishna Mahamantra appears. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Iti Shodak Namnam, Kali Kalmash Nashnam, Nato Partaro Upaye, Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. So this particular verse comes in Kali Santaran Upanishad. Kali means Kali Yug. Sant Taran means, Sant means saintly people. Taran means deliverance. Huh? Kali Sant Taran Upanishad. So the Upanishad, the name of this Upanishad is the Upanishad which is actually meant for providing instructions how in the age of Kali Yuga the saintly people can be delivered. So in this Upanishad, this verse comes where first of all this uh, Hare Krishna Mahamantra appears, and then it comes Iti Shodaka Nam Nam. Iti Shodaka Nam Nam means this 16 syllable mantra. Iti Shodaka Nam Nam. Kali Kalmash Nashanam. Kali Kalmash Nashanam. To destroy all the kalmasha, all the bad qualities of the Kali. Nato partaro upaya. There is no other way. Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. All the Vedas actually mention the same thing. So that is why Srila Prabhupada and the Vaishnava Acharyas are really stressing on this particular point, that what is the best form of yagya or best form of sacrifice in this present age. And hence Srila Prabhupada is specifically recommending here that for householders, not only for householders, even for other ashramas also, the best sacrifice in this particular age is the chanting of holy names. Okay, so these are the three qualities of the grahasthas. Now coming to the quality of brahmacharis. So the brahmachari, the quality, the one quality that has been given and which is very important is swadhyayas tapa. Swadhyaya means self-study. Swadhyaya means studying Vedic scriptures. So brahmachari life starts from the age of 5 and kind of continues till 25 years of age. So for brahmacharis, it is very important to cultivate this spiritual knowledge right from the age of 5, and uh, abstain from uh, associating with the opposite sex, and should live a life of celibacy and engage totally your mind in the study of Vedic literature for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. So once a person cultivates this spiritual knowledge uh, wholeheartedly for almost 20 years and so on, the person, when he becomes adult, when he becomes ready to go out in the society, his character is really very strong. His character is really very deeply rooted in spiritual values, and he has lived the life of austerity with deep scriptural study, and when he goes out in the society, he is very competent to face the trials and tribulations of the life. He may enter into the grahastha life, or he may continue his brahmachari life for good, But whatever may be the case, even if he enters into the grahastha life, he's a man of a very strong and a very pious character. So that is why for a brahmacharis, Vedic study to develop knowledge, swadhyaya, has been mentioned, has been recommended by or has been specifically associated with the brahmachari life. Then comes the fourth ashram, which is vanaprastha. Hmm. For vanaprastha, the quality that has been associated is tapa. Huh? Tapa means austerity. Here, Srila Prabhupada is saying that tapa actually means austerity of both of all body, mind, and speech. Mansa, vacha, karmana. For all body, mind, and speech. And the detail of how the tapasya can be done by body, mind, and speech is elaborately described in the 17th chapter, which we will discuss maybe after a couple of classes. So, from verse number 14 till verse number 16, these austerity of body, mind, and speech has been described. Among all these four ashramas, sannyas ashrama, grahast ashrama, and brahmachari ashrama, you will find that all these among these four ashramas, the three ashramas are can be seen even today in the society. We can see some sannyasis are there, we can see some grahastas are there. Largely grahastas you will find. Brahmacharis are also can be seen, but generally what we don't see in abundance at this time is the vanaprastha ashram. So vanaprastha typically would mean that the person should retire from the active family life, and then once he retires from active family life, he should go to the forest and should cultivate spiritual knowledge and do and try to perfect his life by developing these Krishna conscious qualities. So what does it mean in the modern times? In the modern times, what it means is to reduce your material responsibilities as much as possible, and that is something which is known as the austerity. So reduce your material responsibilities as much as possible. It is not needed that you leave your house. You should go to a forest, because at the moment there are no forest as such. And when these people used to go to forest, there used to be hermitages or ashramas in the forest where these people can associate with saintly people. But in the present day, there are no forests or no good hermitages or ashramas available. So in that situation, what can one do is one should remain in their own house, and but the point is to reduce the material responsibilities and to increase the spiritual activities. So that is how the vanprastha life can be led. So this vanprastha ashram can be a real valuable tool for the society, because most of these vanprastha people are householders. They have a lot of experience of life, and they have a lot of practical understanding of the world. But with this practical understanding of the world, with age, with experience, when they also have this spiritual knowledge of books like Bhagavad Gita, books like Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramayana, these people, with the knowledge of their experience, with the respect they may have on the youth, on the young people, they can really do a lot of good things to the society. They can with their practical knowledge mixed with this spiritual knowledge, they can lead the youth to the right path, and guide the society towards good destination. So that is, the tapa actually has been mentioned here by Prabhupada, connected to vanaprastha life. Then uh, we go to the other qualities. Now these qualities, the other 12 qualities, are specifically connected to the brahmana, and these are आर्जवम अहिंसा सत्यम क्रोध त्याग शांतिर अपैशुनम दया भूतेष्व अलोलुप्त्वम मार्दवम हीर chapalam. So these are 12 qualities, and I will briefly describe these qualities to you. So the first one is arjavam, simplicity. Arjavam, simplicity, means the brahmana should be simple and straightforward. He should not have a very opulent life. He should be simple in his thinking, he should be simple in his living, he should be straightforward in his dealings. Then comes non-violence. Non-violence to a Brahmana would mean not checking one's progressive life. Actually, this not checking one's progressive life, this definition has been given by Srila Prabhupada, and I will come back to this definition. But the point I'm trying to, I would like to emphasize here is that compared to a Kshatriya, the Brahmana should always display ahimsa. And I would remind you of the stories that we have read about Vishwamitra and Vasishtha. So when Vishwamitra, who was at that time named as King Kaushik, was in the Vishwamitra's ashram, and he tried to take his Kamdhenu cow, Shabala, by force, uh, Vasishtha, who being a Brahmana or who being a sage, did not protest in the beginning. And why he did not protest? Because that is the quality of the Brahmana, that he generally forgives people. He generally doesn't create violence. But if it is really needed, then it is also possible that the Brahmana can also take to violence. But the natural instinct of a Brahmana is to forgive. He should not indulge into violence. And Srila Prabhupada is describing non-violence here as not checking one's progressive life. And not checking one's progressive life means here, he's saying here that sometimes we kill animals, ahimsa. So himsa is, he's relating here, sometimes people kill animals just for eating them. And by doing so, what happens is that when we are killing an animal, we are obstructing the natural progression of the animal life. Because in animal life, it is evolution taking place. So what happens is that when a living entity is taken, is given an animal life, is given an animal birth, then the living entity has to undergo through that life fully. And by going through that life of animal living, the living entity burns his previous karma. So when we kill that animal without any reason, just for our food or just for eating the animal, then that evolutionary process of the animal is checked. So the animal has to once again take birth and have to spend that many number of days, balanced number of days, to complete that his previous activities, or his previous karma. He has to once again take that birth. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that non-violence means not checking one's progressive life. And then the third one is truthfulness, which is not lying for any personal interest. So Brahmana should not lie. He should be always truthful. So there is a story, which this story is of a boy of a Satyakam. So when this boy Satyakam goes to a teacher to get a spiritual master, so the spiritual master asks this boy, uh, "Who is your father?" Then Satyakam says, "Sir, I am very sorry, I cannot tell you who is my father, because my mother, who was of a low character, associated with many men, and then got me in birth. So I cannot tell you who actually is my father." So hearing this, the sage or the guru became very, very pleased. So he said that you are actually in a Brahmana, you are displaying a Brahmanical quality. Although you are mentioning me something which which can be very of disrepute, dis, ir, which cannot be good for the reputation of your mother, but still, since you have mentioned it with such a clear heart and with such honesty to me, you have a Brahmanical quality. So that is something which a Brahmana should have: truthfulness, not lying for any personal interest. Then freedom from anger. Huh? So Srila Prabhupada describes freedom from anger would mean that even if there is a provocative situation, the Brahmana should not become angry. Renunciation. Renunciation generally is understood as that we should renounce our wealth, we should renounce our house, we should not take any connection, we should not have any connection with our family members. But the proper definition of renunciation for a devotee is using things in Krishna's service. So what does it mean? That everything belongs to Krishna, everything belongs to the Lord. And in renunciation, what it means is, if we use if we use the things that we have in the Krishna service, that is actually the uh, right definition of renunciation. It should not necessarily mean that we should renounce it, or we should completely leave it. The the next quality is tranquility. Tranquility means shanti. It is unagitated, peaceful, and equipoised. So it doesn't need much discussion there. Tranquility should be peaceful. Then aversion to fault finding unnecessarily. Aversion to fault finding in Sanskrit is known as apaishunam. So we generally, as devotees or as human beings, sometimes tend to take a lot of pleasure when we find some fault in others. So our tendency should not be, or a brahmana's tendency should not be, to find fault with others. We should train ourselves to laugh with others and not laugh at others. So that should be the disposition of devotees in general. But for a brahmana, this is in particular very, very important. Aversion to fault finding unnecessarily. Compassion to all living entities. This means daya. uh, Freedom from greed. Freedom from greed would mean we should not greed. We should not have this greedy feeling to acquire what does not belong to us. So that means freedom from greed. And then gentleness towards all living beings. Gentleness is mardavam. And then modesty. Modesty is hri. Hri, modesty is means that one should be very modest and must not perform some act which is very abominable. Should not do something abominable activity, should not do some illegal activity. That means modesty. And then the last quality of a brahmana is steady determination, which is achapalam. So a chapal means very, very flickering, very, very unsteady, and achapalam means steady. So Srila Prabhupada is describing here is steady means determination. So for a brahmana, what it means is that he should not be agitated or frustrated in some attempt. So if a brahmana is making an attempt and if he's failing in that attempt, he should not become very agitated or disturbed. He should continue to do that with determination. So that means steady determination. So these are the 12 qualities which the Lord is describing specifically for the Brahmana section of the Varna. Now, the last slide for this particular verse or set of verses is uh, we will discuss three qualities of Kshatriya. So, the first quality is vigor. Vigor would mean Daya Hir Chapalam. Tejaha. Vigor means Tejaha. The Kshatriya should be always ready to protect the needy. He should not exploit the needy. But when somebody who is from the weaker section of the society is being harassed, or he's being misused, uh, uh, the Kshatriya should stand and be ready to protect or provide protection to the needy. So that is Kshatriya, or the administrative class. Then the second one is Kshama, forgiveness. So the Shama here should not be understood as non-violence. So a Kshatriya, in order to give protection to the needy, can take to violence. It is allowed for the Kshatriya to take to violence in order to protect the others. But sometimes when they try to do this protection, the other party can accept their mistake, and in that situation, the Kshatriya should be also willing to forgive the other party for their minor offenses. So that is the role of the Kshatriya. Then fortitude. Fortitude means he should have enough mental and emotional strength, uh, to continue to extend himself for providing this protection, for doing this extra endeavor, for protecting the society and the needy. He should not feel lethargic. He should not feel dull in providing these protection. So he should have mental and emotional strength. So in Sanskrit, it is known as uh, Daya Bhuteshwa Aloluptvam Mardvam Teja Kshama Dhriti. Dhriti. Fortitude means Dhriti. Huh? Then for Vaishyas, Vaishya is the mercantile class, the business class. So the two qualities that are mentioned here is cleanliness in one's dealings. Cleanliness means shaucham. Cleanliness in one's dealing means he should be honest in the dealings. He should not be very hanky panky, dubious, or a cheating propensity should not be there in the Vaishnav, in the Vaishya. He should be very clean in one's dealings. And then it says adroho. Adroho means freedom from envy. So since Vaishyas are always dealing with money, they should not feel envious when they see other Vaishya having more than him. He should not feel resentful, and he should not take to unsolicited means to acquire wealth. So this means freedom from envy, adroho. And the last quality is meant for Shudra, which is nati amanita. Nati manita, which means not expecting honor for oneself. So Srila Prabhupada writes for the Shudras, not expecting honor applies to the Shudras, the working class, which are considered according to Vedic injunctions to be the lowest of the four classes. They should not be puffed up with unnecessary prestige or honor and should remain in their own status. It is the duty of the Shudras to offer respect to the higher class for the upkeep of the social order. So, Shudras generally are people who are not so gifted in terms of able to make decisions, able to understand what is good or bad. They generally serve the other part of the society. As I said, they are the labor class. So if this labor class start to expect a lot of honor, then it will be difficult, because they don't deserve that kind of a honor in terms of be able to lead someone or guide someone, or uh, so the best possible for them is to serve the other classes of society and not expect a lot of honor in return. It does not mean that the other classes of the society should dishonor the Shudra. It does not mean that, but it is mainly for the Shudra. When he sees that other class of the society getting a lot of honor because of their intelligence, because of their heroism, because of their maybe business acumen and whatever, but they're not being gifted in those qualities because of their own karma from the previous life, they should not feel like that we should also get that honor. So they should be tolerant enough to not expect any honor in return, any prestige in return. So that is how all these 26 qualities has been discussed in this purport, which is 16.1 to 3. So it took quite some time, but I hope that was useful to understand how these qualities have been analyzed and discussed by the Vaishnavacharyas. Now let us go to the next verse, next section, which is from verse number 4 till verse number 8. These are about the demoniac qualities. I'll read the verse. दम्भो दर्पोऽभिमानश्च क्रोधः पारुष्यमेव च अज्ञानं चाभिजातस्य पार्थ सम्पदमासुरीम्. So here again there are number of qualities. I think total 6 qualities have been discussed about the demoniac people, and these qualities are in the mode of passion and ignorance. And in the purport of this verse, Srila Prabhupada is writing specifically that this verse, he's saying the royal road to hell is described. So, and what are the qualities that are specifically mentioned? Dambha, Darpa, Abhimanascha, Krodha, Parushyam, Evacha, Agyanam. So Dambha means, we will see in the next slide. Dambha means pride. Darpa means arrogance. Abhimanascha means conceit. Krodha, anger. Parushya means harshness. And Agyanam means ignorance. But now coming back to the point of royal road to hell. Now these qualities that we see, or we just now discussed, the 6 qualities are known as Asuri. And these qualities are described by Prabhupada as royal road to hell. What does it mean? Royal road is something which is uh, sometimes like a national highway or a very important road. So that is known as royal road. But it is a royal road to hell. What does it mean? It means that these people who are of demoniac nature, they consider all these six qualities, or six tendencies: dambha, darpa, abhimanascha, krodha, parushya, ajnana. They don't consider it as bad. They consider them to be as their asset, as we just now discussed shortly. Asuri sampad. Sampad means wealth. So they consider them to be very important, that they are abhimani, or they are dambha, or they are pride, or they can have anger. So those qualities they consider to be very good for them. So that is why Srila Prabhupada is saying that these are royal road to hell. And also, uh, uh, the second bullet in the slide is saying impressions even in the womb. This is again, once again, connecting to the same point, that these are the qualities that these people acquire because of their past deeds. So Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport, these demonic qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies in the wombs of their mothers. And as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. So because of their past life, karmas, even by birth, they have this tendency of being demoniac, having these qualities of pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance, like that. So generally, how to understand this? Say, whatever qualities we have as an adult, as a grown up adult, these qualities generally come from various ways. Say, one way is that we acquire these qualities through our birth, from our past baggage. The second way we acquire, or we shape our personality, is by the upbringing that we receive by our parents. Uh, that is the second way we get them. The third way is by the surroundings that we have. That is the third way. So first one is the baggage that we have, the second one is the upbringing by the parents, and the third one is the surrounding that we have, and the fourth one is the free will. Free will means we make some choices, and by those choices we develop our personality. So most of the time in the modern world, in the modern society, where we don't understand, or where the people don't really believe in reincarnation or rebirth or karma, etc., this first part, qualities acquired by birth, is for is not considered. But here, if we see this verse closely, we will understand. दंभो दर्पो अभिमानश्च क्रोध पारुष्यमेव च अज्ञानम च अभिजातस्य. The word used here is abhijatasya. Abhijatasya means of one who is born of. So by birth these tendencies are there. Abhijatasya partha sampad asurim. So Lord Krishna is saying that those who have these six qualities from birth, he is supposed to be known as asurim. And these are there by birth, but as these people grow in their life, these qualities become manifested, they become prakat, they become obvious to others as they grow. So now let us give a quick look at what these qualities would mean. Pride, arrogance, conceit, dambha, darpa, and abhiman. Now it might seem that dambha, darpa, and abhiman are one and the same thing, but there is a difference. Although so the pride would mean here make a show of religion even if sinful. Arrogance means pride in one's wealth and education, and conceit means desire to be worshipped by others. Now if you observe in these three words, the point here is there is a difference in the degree. So conceit means the degree is very large. Pride means the degree is a little small. So in pride, one make a show of religion even if sinful. So the feeling to or the tendency to show to others is there, but it is not so strong. So it simply does make a show of religion even if sinful. So he does some simple show off. Arrogance means now in pride in one's wealth and education. So the degree has gone up a little while, little more. So he now starts to uh, uh, show off about its wealth and education. But in conceit, in abhiman, what happens is desire to be worshipped by others. Now, not only he make a show of religion, not only he has pride in its own wealth and education, but because of all these qualities, show off of religion, having wealth, having education, now he also starts to expect honor for himself by others. If somebody doesn't honor him, he feels bad about it. So in pride, it may not happen that if he's not honored, he may not feel so bad, but in conceit it happens very quickly. So desire to be worshipped by others is known as abhiman. Then anger. Anger means for small things, these people become angry. Harshness means they use a lot of rough language in front of others. They ridicule others. They insult others, and they don't feel bad about it. They feel they feel proud about it. They think that, oh, I can insult him. I can do this. It is I can use harsh language. I can use rough language. I don't have any problem doing that. That's how their mentality or their mindset is. Then the last one is ignorance. Ignorance means agyanam. Ignorance here would mean lack of discrimination, whimsical action. So, like in the 14th chapter, we understood that these are people in mode of ignorance or in mode of passion. So, because of that modes, they are not able to discriminate between good and bad very easily. So, and that is why they take whimsical action. Their actions are always whimsical. They are not based on any shastra. They are not based on any rules, regulations. No, they tend to take whimsical action. So this is the point that I was mentioning to you. Srila Prabhupada write in the purport, these demonic qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies in the wombs of their mothers. And as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. So these are the qualities by birth. They have it. Okay. Now the fifth, sixth, and seventh verse I have covered in one slide, and we will quickly look at these verses. In the fifth verse, the destiny of the divine and demoniac is described. So here Lord Krishna is saying, Devid Sampad Vimokshaya Nibandhaya Asuri Mata Ma Shucha Sampadam Devim Abhijato Si Pandava. So again the word Abhijato, Abhijat has been used here for Pandava. Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna, Devi Sampad Vimokshaya. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation. Devi Sampad, these are transcendental qualities. These are qualities that takes you towards God. These are godly qualities. These are conducive to liberation. Devi Sampad Vimokshaya, Mokshaya. Moksha means liberation. Then Nibandhaya Surimata, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. Bandha, Nibandhaya Asuri Mata. Bandha means bondage. So the demonic qualities will bound you in this world. Then he continues to say, continues to say, ma shuchaha sampadam devim abhichatosi pandava. But ho, a Arjuna, you should not worry, you should not fear. Ma shuchaha sampadam devim, because you are born out of devi qualities. You are not demoniac by birth. You are devi, you are divine by birth. Huh? Devi abhijatosi Pandava. Devim abhijatosi Pandava. By birth you are Devi. You should not fear. So here in the purport of this verse, Srila Prabhupada is saying uh, his involvement in the fight, or Arjuna's involvement in the fight, was not demoniac, because he was considering the pros and cons. He was not considering whether respectable person as Bhishma, he was considering whether respectable person such as Bhishma and Drona should be killed or not. So he was not acting under the influence of anger, false prestige, or harshness. So he was deliberating upon what he was going to do. He was not thinking out of whim. He was not thinking that, no, doesn't matter if I, even if I kill them, what should happen? Should not happen anything. So he was not like that. So Srila Prabhupada is giving an evidence how Arjuna can be known as a Devi, as a divine person. He is not Asuri by nature, by birth. Then the sixth verse is Lord Krishna is saying, now there are two types of people in this world. One is Devi, one is Asuri. He's saying Dva Bhuta Sargo Lokesmin Daiva Asura Evacha Daivo Vistarashah Prokta Asuram Partha Meshrunu. He's saying, O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine, the other is called demoniac. I have already explained you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demoniac. Now, if you see in this chapter, we are already in sixth verse. So from seventh verse till 20th verse, almost 14 verses, Lord Krishna is going to describe about demoniac qualities. And how many verses did he took for describing Devi qualities? Only three. But here he's saying, I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. He's saying here, Daivo Vistara Shaha. Vistara. Vistara means Vistar. Vistar means elaborate. Daivo Vistara Shaha Prokta. Prokta means speaking. I have already spoken to you, Daivi, in Vistar. In elaborately, I have spoken to you. Asuram Partham Me Shrunu. Now you listen to me about Asuri. But here in the chapter, we see Lord is using 14 words to describe demoniac qualities, but only three verses to describe divine qualities. But yet he's saying that he has described Devi quality in Vistar, in elaborate. Now here we should understand that the Devi quality is not only describing in only in 16th chapter. The Lord is describing Devi qualities starting from second chapter. So in the second chapter, the Lord has described about the Sthita Pragya, one who is very, very determined, very, very stable, Sthita Pragya. In the third chapter, he described about a person who is a Nishkam Karma Yogi. In the fourth chapter, also he describes about, sorry, in the third chapter, he describes about uh, more of these divine qualities. And in the fourth chapter also he describes about a person who is a nishkam karma yogi. Then he also mentions about these qualities in fifth chapter, sixth chapter, and continues to describe these qualities in 10th chapter, in 12th chapter, where he describes elaborately about the qualities of what are the qualities he likes. So like that, he has been describing about divine qualities in detail in the previous chapters, but in this chapter he has described them in the first three verses. That is why he's saying that I have already explained to you the Devi in the previous chapters in detail, but now listen about Asuri. So from 7th verse till 20th verse, he will speak in detail about who are the Asuri qualities, and this is a very, very interesting section of this particular chapter. And you might even find connection with your own life. I mean, specifically, I found it connected with my own life, or the behavior sometimes I tend to have in my own life are many times I can see have a reference in these 14 verses. So let me share what are these. He's saying, the Lord is saying in the seventh text, in the seventh verse, Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janana vidurasuraha na shaucham na pichacharo na satyam teshu vidyate. He's saying those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha. Pravrittim means doing something, engaging in something. Nivrittim means not engaging in something. So pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janana vidurasura. Janana. The asuras do not know what they should do and what they should not do. Again, you can see the connection between the 14th chapter, where we discussed about the uh, qualities of people in mode of ignorance. So these Asuri people are largely in mode of ignorance. So again, the same thing there he's saying here. They do not know what is good or bad. What are the do's, what are the don'ts? They don't much care about it. Then, then he's saying, na shaucham, na api cha acharo, na satyam teshu vidyate. Then he's saying neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. So na shocham, Na api cha acharo. Achar means behavior, good behavior, acharan. Huh? Na satyam teshu vidyate. Neither any truthfulness is seen in them. So they are not understanding what is good, what is bad. They don't have any regard for scriptures, because from scriptures only one can understand what is good, what is bad. And neither they have any cleanliness, nor they have any good behavior. And since they neither have any cleanliness nor good behavior, there you cannot find any truth in them. So that's how we can understand the asuri. So he has started to describe more about the asuri qualities now. So uh, whenever Srila Prabhupada is explaining about cleanliness, he talks about two type of cleanliness. One is the external cleanliness, which means taking bath, shaving, brushing teeth, changing clothes, and so on. So this is external cleanliness. And when he's talking about internal cleanliness, he's mainly talking about remembering the Lord, remembering the holy names of the Lord in terms of chanting the names of the Lord. So that is what he's saying, cleanliness. So Asuri does not have any cleanliness, neither external nor internal. Neither they have any good behavior. So what does good behavior means? For example, respecting the parents, having a respect for other living entities, having merciful attitude towards living entities, having a forgiving nature towards living entities, and so on. So they don't display this that kind of a good behavior. And because they neither have cleanliness nor they have any good behavior, it is very obvious they will you will not find the truth, or you will not find truthfulness in them. So this is the seventh verse. Okay, coming to the eighth verse. Eighth verse is the viewpoint or the philosophy followed by the demoniac people, the mentality of these demoniac people, what viewpoint they hold in the world. And probably you might find some similarity uh, in the viewpoint you also or I might also have been holding in our lives. And you might know people who might also be holding these kind of viewpoints in their lives. So that is what Lord Krishna is saying here is are demoniac viewpoints and demonic conclusions. What is he saying is asatyam pratishtham te jagadahuranishwaram aparasparam sambhutam kim anyat kama hetukam. Asatyam apratishtham te jagadahur anishwaram. Asatyam, they believe that this world is false, and this world has no foundation. This does not have any foundation. uh, there is no Lord, there is no God involved here. It has no foundation, it just exists. It just exists. And then Jagad Ahur Anishwaram, there is no God in control. Jagad Ahur Anishwaram, Jagad means world, Anishwaram, Ishwaram is God. So there is no God in control. Ishwar is actually mentioned mainly for controllership. Ishwar means controller. So Jagad Ahur Anishwaram. And then Aparasparam Sambhutam. And it has come without cause, arisen without cause. There is no God, there is no creation done by any supreme Lord, nothing. It has arisen without cause. And then Kim Manyat Kam Ahetukam. But then what is the cause? It is simply produced because of the sex desire of men and women. That is the only cause this world is there. No other cause. There is no God in control. There is no supreme Lord who is in charge of this world. There is nothing that has been created by the Lord, nothing. So these are the demonic conclusions. Now I like to bring your attention to verse number 7 and verse number 8. And these two verses actually are the foundation for all the demonic qualities. What are these two things? Pravrittim cha nivrattim cha janana vidurasura. They don't know what is good or what is bad. Indirectly, they don't believe in scriptures, because scriptures only tell us what is good and bad. So this is the first thing. They don't have any understanding of scriptures. They actually don't believe in scriptures. And since they don't believe in scriptures, they don't believe in God. And since they don't believe in God, they have all kind of theories about the creation of this universe, creation of this existence, why do they exist, and so on. And because of these two fundamental problems, not believing in scriptures, and since they don't believe in scriptures, they don't believe in God, they develop their own theories. There are so many theories of these demoniac people. As many as demoniac people, as many theories you will find. And these are some of the small glimpses that you are seeing what Lord Krishna is explaining here, that there is no reason this world exists. Simply because of the sex attraction between the man and women, this world is going on. Simply eat, drink, and be merry, and forget about if you are doing any good or any bad. If you have simply taken care of any problem that arise in your life, that is all. There is no higher authority that is looking at you. It doesn't matter whatever you are doing. Live your life full size, king size. That is their philosophy. Now here are some of these bullet points what Srila Prabhupada is giving here in order to explain the demoniac. For them, there is no difference between spirit and matter, and they do not accept the supreme spirit. Everything is matter only, and the whole cosmos is supposed to be a mass of ignorance. They conclude that as a child is simply a result of sexual intercourse between men and women, this world is born without any soul. They do not believe in the words of Krishna in Gita, where Lord says, Maya dhekshena prakriti suyate sa characharam. What does it mean? I am actually the controller of Prakriti, and under my guidance only the Prakriti is running or Prakriti is operating. According to these demoniac people, one interpretation of the scripture is as good as another, for they do not believe in a standard understanding of the scriptural injunctions. So, that is the fundamental reason why these demoniac people actually behave the way they behave. They develop the philosophies and the theories. Uh, and this is the verse 16.8, which is giving you some glimpse of the theories of the demoniac. So I'll not take more time. We have more verse to go till we reach the 12th verse. But in the interest of time, I like to stop here. Maybe we will cover the other four verses in our next class. So uh, I like to put the class to rest right now. So with that, I will like to say all glories to Srimad Bhagavad Gita, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. And now let us have a short discussion. Any takeaways, discussion, and comments? Let us have a discussion. Thank you very much.
Prabhuji, one question.
Yes, Kishorji.
So you mentioned about greed, right? So
Mhm.
how much money is to be considered as greed, and how much is okay, kind of thing?
Yeah. So greed actually is something defined as, say, your life is going on well, your bodily needs are taken care, your mental needs are taken care, your spiritual needs are taken care. From that perspective, things are going on well. But now, beyond that, you want to have more, just to satisfy your, uh, just to gratify your senses, just to enjoy. Uh, Enjoyment can be gross, enjoyment can be subtle. Gross enjoyment would mean that you are physically actually enjoying your wealth. Physically enjoying your wealth means going for business, going for foreign trips, or purchasing a large house, or having a even a bigger car or a more posh car, whatever. That is something gross enjoyment. Subtle enjoyment could be in terms of power. Power means now I am so and so, and I want to become so and so. So that is something which you can consider as greed. Specifically, it means in terms of once your physical, mental, and spiritual needs have been taken care, now you hanker for more and more. That is what is can be understood as greed, mainly for sense enjoyment, sense gratification.
Yeah, but in terms of practical terms,
Hmm.
so if I'm drawing a particular salary, what does
Hmm.
it mean? I mean, how should I use the wealth? I mean, what should I do about it?
Yeah, you are drawing a particular salary and you are maintaining a specific standard of living. So see, the point here is, when we say simple living have different meaning for different people. It does not mean the same thing for everyone. What does it mean? Now just take example of Arjuna. Arjuna is fighting this battle of Mahabharat, and after winning this battle, what he will get? He will get a kingdom, isn't it? He will live in opulent palace. He will have a lot of wealth in terms of treasury, and the taxes the people will give. But for a kshatriya or for a king, uh, actually that is actually the simple living. For somebody who is a businessman, who is a very big businessman, his simple living, his definition of simple living could be different. His definition of simple living, at least he needs an office, he needs a car, he needs employees, he needs a factory, those kind of things. But the point here is, whatever situation you are in, once your physical, mental, and spiritual needs have been taken care, hankering for more and more, for what? For sense gratification, that is classified as greed. So if you are drawing a salary, you are maintaining a house, you are maintaining your family, you probably may have a car, you may also have some property, you may have done some investments for future needs of your children, education, marriage, whatever. But something like, after all that genuine needs have been taken care of yourself, now if you start to hanker means become restless, to acquire more and more, just to sound great to others in the society, just to feel better that now, previously I had so much money but now I have so much more, that is mainly called as greed, for material
So,
sense gratification.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Prabhu.
Guruji.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
May I know what is planning, or is there any kind of planning in spirituality? People say, uh, let us save for the rainy day, or let us arrange for something, some difficult time. So, how do you look at that? Some kind of planning in spirituality.
May I request to people who are not participating in discussion to mute themselves? Yeah, sorry. Prabhuji, can you repeat your questions once again?
Yes, I'm saying that we also, like everybody else, we also need planning.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we are going spiritual, shouldn't we
Uh-huh.
have something in store for the rainy day, and to say, manage the bad days, because everybody
Yeah, yeah,
gets it
yeah, yeah,
once or a while.
yeah. So if you remember, I had forwarded one lecture by a devotee, Vrindavan. I'm forgetting the name. Uh, Anand Vrindavan Prabhu. Anand
Yes,
Vrindavan Prabhu had. He's actually a very famous stock market expert. He's a
right.
very. So he has mentioned in his lecture that when we are performing our spiritual life, in our devotional life, uh, money is an important asset for us, which provides us for our bodily needs, for our day to day living of the life and family, maintaining the family. uh, so we should make a calculation about it, and should have enough for the future, so that we can continue to do our devotional service, or our sadhana, our spiritual activities, without getting disturbed, that how I am going to maintain myself, my family, and so on. So that much we should have. And in that lecture, Anand Vrindavan Prabhu was actually mentioning about that, if you have your money invested in gold, if you have your money invested in some instruments which are fixed in nature, which are more safe, for example, like fixed deposits, or maybe some debt funds, so gold, debt funds, and maybe some yeah cash in bank, or all those, or maybe some jewelry at home, which is another form of gold. So unless and until you have that much amount of saving available to you, and as per your calculation, whatever standard of living you are leading now, you can maintain that standard of living till whatever, maybe after retirement, maybe another 20-25 years, whatever. In that situation, you can do your bhajan, you can do your devotional service peacefully. So that's what he was trying to mention. So keeping that in mind, keeping that devotional service, steadiness in devotional service or steadiness in your bhakti in mind, you should do that planning, financial planning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Tauji. Yeah.
Yeah. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansashanura Mardana Devaki Paramananda Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. गुरुजी आपकी परमिशन से ग्रीड के ऊपर कुछ बोल सकता हूँ?
बोलिए जी, प्लीज, लाइक टू हियर. आपका कनेक्शन थोड़ा पुअर हो गया है. आपका कनेक्शन थोड़ा सा खराब हो गया. वी कैन नॉट हियर यू. हेलो करतार ताऊ जी, वी कैन नॉट हियर यू.
Absence of satisfaction. हरे कृष्णा गुरुजी.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, सॉरी,
डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया था. हाँ जी,
हाँ जी, बताइए.
हाँ. In my conception, or what I got from Char Dwarpal to reach Guruji, Simran, Seva, Satsang, Santosh.
जी.
In my concept, the Santosh is not there, so you are greedy. Yeah. Only greed can go away once you are satisfied. So the most important thing is to have satisfaction. If you have satisfaction, कबीर जी said, जब आए संतोष धन, सब धन धूरी समान.
हाँ, पर वो संतोष धन के लिए, उस संतोष धन के लिए प्रक्रिया क्या करनी चाहिए, प्रोसेस क्या एक्सेप्ट करना चाहिए. जैसे हम कहते हैं वी शुड बिकम हेल्दी. हाँ, healthy is a state, healthy is a situation. Similarly, santosh is also a state, is a situation. But for having health, the activities that we should do is we should eat good food, we should eat nutritious food, we should not eat bad things, we should do exercises, and so on. So my question to you is, how do we get that santosh?
By 3 steps.
Bataiye.
By Simran, Seva, Satsang.
Wonderful.
We should remember his God's name,
wonderful,
Krishna's name.
Wonderful.
We should go to Satsang as we are attending your Satsang.
Correct.
And we should do Seva.
Not only my satsang, you can attend other satsangs also.
ये तो आज का मतलब, अभी आज से बात कर रहा हूँ, तो इसलिए I have to put you on my friend, because today at this moment you are my guru who is teaching me, giving me jnana. So this is the 3 steps. If we follow this Simran Seva Satsang, you will reach to Santosh.
Correct. So that is what we recommend. A, B, C, D association, reading books like Gita and Bhagavad. C, chanting is chanting the holy names of the Lord. D, diet. Diet means offering the food first to the Lord and then taking it as the mercy of the Lord, which is known as prasad. And avoiding 4 activities: no illicit sex, no gambling, no meat eating, and no intoxication. So that is the do's and don'ts to reach to divine qualities and reaching to the Lord. Yeah.
That we get from satsang, that once we attend satsang.
Correct.
So satsang we will automatically be cut off from all these.
Correct. Satsang is satsang.
Without.
If you hold on to satsang, you will be reading the books in short period of time. If you are reading the books, you will start chanting the names of the Lord also in the short period of time, and then continue to do prasad seva also. So the satsang is actually the key. Very rightly said. Yes.
कि उस सत्संग में गुरु की स्थिति होती है, परिस्थिति होती है।
Yes ji.
भगवान सत्संग में बसता है।
Yes sir.
हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna ji. Thank you.
Thank
So any other question? Any other thoughts?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
This is Jeevan
Krishna.
Prabhu here.
Yes, Jeevan Prabhuji.
Prabhu, I want to just ask for some smart clarification. Why
Yeah.
this segregation has been made separately as a sannyasi, grihastha, brahma? Cannot be combined as the qualities, as a total thing. Why it is that? Sannyasi means only certain qualities are, you have mentioned. It has been mentioned. Does it mean that he does not have to have other qualities to be a this thing?
Yeah.
This is my
Yeah, he can have other
It's a
qualities also.
nice segregation, but still I wanted to know why this Varnashrama Dharma has been brought here.
Yeah.
What is the,
See, I'll give you an example. For example, we discuss Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means Vedic study.
Okay.
So, Prabhupada is mentioning Vedic study is specifically for brahmacharis.
Okay, correct.
So,
Exactly.
for brahmacharis, this is non-negotiable. Mandatory.
Okay.
Have to be there. So Swadhyaya should be there in other ashramas also. It is not that the grahastha should not do Swadhyaya. What we are doing at the moment, we are doing
Yes,
study of Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? But
Okay.
but for brahmachari, it is the importance or the significance of Swadhyaya for brahmachari is non-negotiable.
Okay.
So that is what it means. Similarly, for a sannyasi, fearlessness is non-negotiable. Because if he does not have fearlessness, he cannot live to the expectation of the sannyas ashram. अगर कोई सन्यासी को ये लगे कि भाई मेरे को रोटी कहाँ मिलेगी रात को, and he is fearful about it. How will I get my dinner today? And I am very fearful about it. How will he perform sannyas ashram? He cannot. अगर उसको रोटी नहीं मिलती है, if he doesn't get a food in the night, he should be ready to sleep hungry.
Okay.
And depending upon only on the mercy of the Lord. No, the Krishna will provide me somewhere, some arrangement will happen. That is what fearlessness for sannyasi would mean. So it does not necessarily mean that one quality should not be there for the other ashrama,
Very good.
but for one particular ashrama where it has been mentioned, it is non-negotiable.
Okay.
Like for
Thank you.
Kshatriya, Tejaha means heroism or protecting the others. So Kshatriya cannot say that I will not fight. Brahmana can say, if he doesn't fight, it suits him. For a Kshatriya, if he says that if a police officer say I will not shoot the criminal, what kind of a police officer is he? A business person will call police station that, see, please come and help me. The police will come and shoot the criminal. The business person doesn't know how to, or he doesn't have the guts, or he doesn't have the training, or that kind of a bent of mind to kill other. But a policeman is trained. He doesn't feel bad about when he kills somebody.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yes.
Understood, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, nice questions. Any other question or any other thought, comment, feedback?
Okay, Prabhuji, Radhe Radhe.
Okay, ji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for your nice description of the chapter.
Thank you, ji. Thank you.
Okay. We enjoyed very much.
Okay, Shivanji, was it okay?
Very good.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, then we I say goodbye then. Let us connect next Saturday.
Rest of the demoniac action next Saturday.
Not demoniac. Okay, ji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful class.
Thank you,
Wonderful
Prabhuji.
class.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
It will always be Satvik only.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Aishman
Hare
Bhav, Shashi
Krishna.
Bhav,
Hare Krishna.
Vijay
Hare
Bhav.
Satsang will be sattvic, or we will be discussing demoniac.
Satsang is always sattvic.
Yeah, but we will be discussing demoniac actions.
इस बहाने प्रभु जी आपके भी दर्शन हो जाते हैं.